Okay, so let's dive into this Supreme Court case from the Philippines that is kind of blown up online.
Yeah.
It really gets at the heart of this idea of like public trust
Uh-huh.
and what happens when it's broken.
Absolutely.
You've got court documents, some legal analysis, the whole shebang.
The whole 9 yards.
Are you ready to untangle Leonardo v. People?
Absolutely. I'm ready.
All right.
This case, officially, it's GR No 246451 from February 3, 2021.
Oh.
It highlights some really crucial legal principles, and it reveals how these seemingly small choices that people make can have major consequences.
I think that's what's so interesting about law sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like,
Butterfly effect.
yeah, these tiny little things
Exactly.
lead to these massive outcomes.
Totally.
So here's the question that I keep seeing pop up online.
Okay.
Can a public official really use their position for personal gain,
Ooh.
even if they eventually reimburse the money?
That's exactly what we're going to be examining.
Oh,
It's a fascinating look
yeah.
at both the letter of the law and the real-world impact when an official's actions just completely erode public trust.
I think that's what people are so fired up about.
Yes.
It's not necessarily always about the money.
It's about the principle.
It's the principle of the thing.
Exactly.
All right, so let's set the scene.
Okay.
We are in the Philippines in 2010.
All right.
Stewart Leonardo is the mayor of Quezon, Bukidnon,
Okay.
and he's been authorized to buy trucks and heavy equipment for the town at an auction.
Sounds pretty standard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
typical. So far, so good.
Uh-huh.
But here's where things get a little bit dicey. Leonardo attends the auction and bids not only for the town,
Oh.
but also for himself.
What?
2 trucks for him, 5 for the town.
So he was buying for himself at the same time
Yeah.
that he was supposed to be representing the town's interest.
Right.
So,
That seems like a big no-no right there.
yeah.
Like a major conflict of interest.
Right.
Like, that's what they teach you not to do.
Huge conflict of interest.
On day one
Yeah, right out the gate.
of being a public official.
Yes, absolutely.
And it gets even more complicated.
Oh.
He used the town's bid deposit
Oh, no.
of 100,000 pesos
For his own purchases.
for his own purchases.
Wow.
So he was using public funds
Yeah.
for his own personal gain.
That's not good.
I can see why people are outraged.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
really bad.
So what happened next? Did he just try to like sweep
Yeah.
this under the rug?
Well, he did eventually reimburse the town for the deposit,
Okay.
but it gets even more convoluted.
Okay.
Initially, all of the deeds of sale for all 7 trucks
Oh, wow.
were put in the town's name.
So it seems like he was really trying to hide his personal involvement in this
Yes.
whole deal.
Exactly.
What was the reaction when all of this came to light?
So the case went to the Sandiganbayan,
Okay.
which is a special court in the Philippines
I see.
that handles corruption cases. And it's interesting to note that the Sandiganbayan was not convinced by his argument, that he was like, oh, well, I reimbursed them, so no harm, no foul.
Right.
They weren't buying it.
Yeah. It sounds like they saw right through that.
Totally.
So what was their verdict then?
They found him guilty
Oh.
of violating Section 3G of RA 3019, which is the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act.
Okay.
They recognized that this case was about more than just the money.
Right.
It was about the violation of public trust.
So he was found guilty by the Sandiganbayan.
Yes,
Did he accept that ruling,
he did not.
or did he try to fight it?
He appealed
Okay.
all the way to the Supreme Court.
All right. So now we're going to the big leagues.
Yes.
This is where it gets really interesting, legally speaking.
Yes.
The Supreme Court had to dissect the meaning of manifest partiality
Yes.
and evident bad faith,
Okay.
which are key elements of the law. Leonardo was accused of violating, legal jargon alert. Can you break those down for us? What do those terms really mean in this context?
Of course. So manifest partiality basically means there's a clear bias toward one side, you know?
Okay.
It's like you're playing favorites.
Right.
And in this case, it was pretty evident that Leonardo was favoring his own interests
Uh-huh.
above the town's.
Yeah, so it's not just about making a mistake.
Right.
It's about intentionally using his position for personal gain.
Yes, exactly.
And what about evident bad faith? That sounds even more serious.
It implies a deliberate act of wrongdoing.
Okay.
Like, think about it this way. If Leonardo had simply made a mistake, he would have corrected it immediately and been transparent about it.
Yeah.
But instead, he tried to cover his tracks.
Right.
And that's where the bad faith comes in.
That's where the bad faith comes in.
Exactly.
So the fact that he tried to hide his personal purchases by initially putting them in the town's name,
Yeah.
that played a big role in the Supreme Court's decision.
Huge role. And there's another layer to this, too.
Right.
Leonardo claimed he paid for the transportation costs for his own trucks. But the Supreme Court found out that he actually treated it as a loan to the town and then later asked for reimbursement.
So even when it seemed like he was paying out of pocket,
Exactly.
he was still finding ways to shift the costs back to the town.
Yeah.
And it really paints a picture of someone trying to just like exploit the system.
Yeah, totally.
So the Supreme Court wasn't buying it.
Nope.
They saw right through it.
They saw through all the maneuvering and they upheld the guilty verdict.
Okay, so what kind of punishment are we talking about here?
Right.
Was it just a slap on the wrist?
Okay.
Or did they take a hard line?
They took a hard line.
Okay.
He was sentenced to 6 years and 1 month to 10 years in prison.
Wow.
And on top of that, he is permanently banned from holding public office.
So they're like, you can never work in government again.
Exactly.
Wow. That's serious.
Yeah, they sent a message.
That's a huge consequence.
It really underscores that public trust is not something to be taken lightly.
It's not a joke.
No, it's not.
And what's so fascinating about this is that the Supreme Court's decision goes beyond the specific details of this case.
Absolutely.
They're setting a precedent here.
100%.
So this case could have implications for future cases
Yes.
involving corruption or abuse of power.
Totally. Yeah, it's a clear signal that public officials are held to a higher standard and that even seemingly small acts of self-dealing can have severe consequences.
It's like they're drawing a line in the sand, saying like this far and no further.
Exactly.
But what about the argument
Okay.
that since he repaid the money, no real harm was done?
That's a great question, and it gets at the heart of what public trust really means.
So it's not just about the financial aspect,
No.
but about the principle
Yes.
of using public office for personal gain.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Because think about it.
Yeah.
If people believe that their elected officials are acting in their own self-interest
Right.
rather than the public good,
It erodes trust.
it erodes the foundation of democracy,
Completely.
right? People might become cynical,
Totally.
stop participating in the political process,
Uh-huh.
or even lose faith in the system entirely.
Absolutely, 100%.
And that's why the Supreme Court's focus on manifest partiality
Right.
and evident bad faith
Yes.
is so important.
Very important.
They're sending a message that it's not enough for public officials
Yeah.
to simply avoid breaking the law. They need to act with integrity
Exactly.
and transparency.
Yes.
It's a reminder that public service is about serving the public,
Public,
not yourself.
not yourself.
And even if you try to cover your tracks,
Yeah.
the truth has a way of coming out.
It always does.
Leonardo's attempt to hide his actions ultimately backfired
Yeah.
and made the consequences even more severe.
Cool.
This case really highlights the importance
Uh-huh.
of transparency and accountability in government.
Yes. Absolutely.
It also makes me wonder about the long-term impact
Okay.
on the people of Kaizen-Bukidnon.
Right.
How does something like this affect a community?
That is a crucial question, and it speaks to the broader impact of corruption. When people witness their leaders abusing their power, it can create a climate of distrust and cynicism.
Yeah, they might start to believe that all politicians are corrupt or that their voices don't matter.
Exactly, and that can lead to apathy and disengagement,
Right.
making people less likely to participate in the democratic process.
Like, why bother?
Exactly.
It's a vicious cycle.
It is.
So this case isn't just about one mayor and some trucks.
No, it's not.
It's about something much bigger.
Much bigger.
It's about the values that we uphold as a society.
Yes,
And the standards we expect from those in positions of power.
absolutely.
It's about the importance of accountability and the responsibility we all have to speak out against corruption and abuse of power.
I agree.
This conversation has been so insightful.
Yeah, it has.
I feel like we've really peeled back the layers of this case
Totally.
and uncovered some like profound truths
Deep truth.
about public trust
Yeah.
and the responsibilities of leadership.
It's been a fascinating deep dive.
It really has.
What stands out to you about all of this?
Oh man, there's so much.
Yeah.
I'm particularly struck by how the Supreme Court's decision goes beyond the specific legal details
Okay.
and tackles the broader issue of ethical behavior in public office.
Right.
They're essentially saying that Integrity and transparency
Yeah.
are just as important as following the letter of the law.
Absolutely. That's a powerful message, and it's one that resonates far beyond the Philippines.
Right.
It's relevant to anyone who cares about good governance, ethical leadership, and the future of democracy.
I think this case raises some important questions for all of us to consider. Like, what happens when the people we trust to represent us abuse that trust?
Right.
How can we as citizens hold our leaders accountable and ensure that they're truly serving the public good?
Those are questions that go beyond this one case.
Yeah.
They speak to the very core of our democratic values and the importance of civic engagement.
It's a reminder that we all have a role to play
Yes.
in shaping the kind of society we want to live in.
Absolutely. By being informed, engaged, and willing to hold our leaders accountable, we can help create a more just and equitable world.
It all starts with us.
It does.
What are your takeaways from this case?
Yeah.
And what do you think are the broader implications for our society?
Let us know.
We want to hear from you.
Yes. Share your thoughts in the comments below.
Yeah.
And let's keep this conversation going.
And if you're interested in diving deeper into more fascinating legal cases like this one, be sure to subscribe to The Deep Dive.
Yeah, we're exploring a new case every week right here.
We'll be right back after a quick break. And we're back. And, you know, we've been unpacking this Leonardo v. People case where a mayor's actions really just had a huge ripple effect that went way beyond just a couple of trucks.
Absolutely. It's a stark reminder that these actions that might seem insignificant at first can actually snowball into something that really damages public trust.
It's like that saying, right?
Yeah.
For want of a nail, the shoe was lost.
Exactly.
For want of a shoe, the horse was lost.
Right.
For want of a horse, the rider was lost.
The kingdom was lost.
The battle was lost.
Yeah.
The kingdom was lost. It's like that.
Totally, yeah.
These tiny little things can lead to these massive outcomes.
Absolutely.
But in this case, the Supreme Court stepped in and was like, no, we're not going to let this slide.
Right.
Public trust is paramount.
Public trust is key.
So their decision to uphold that guilty verdict, it sends a powerful message about accountability. It's not just about the letter of the law, but the spirit of the law.
It's about the ethics.
The ethical behavior that we expect from our leaders.
Exactly.
And what I find so interesting about this case is how it goes beyond just the immediate players.
Okay.
We've been talking about the mayor and the courts, but what about like the average person in Quezon, Bukidnon?
Right.
How does a case like this impact their lives?
That's such a good question.
Yeah.
And it gets at the heart of why this case matters. When people see their elected officials abusing their power, it can be so disillusioning.
They might start to think like, well, if the people in charge are corrupt, what's the point of even trying?
Why bother?
Why bother?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It can lead to apathy, cynicism, just a sense of hopelessness.
Exactly.
People might be less likely to vote, less likely to speak out against injustice, and less likely to believe that positive change is possible.
Absolutely.
So the damage goes way beyond just any financial loss.
It's way bigger than that.
It erodes like the fabric of a community.
The foundation.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It undermines that sense of shared purpose.
Right.
And that collective responsibility that's so essential for a healthy democracy.
It's like that sense of we're all in this together starts to fall apart.
Exactly.
And that's why this case resonates so strongly with people.
I agree.
It's a reminder that we all have a stake in this.
Yeah.
In upholding ethical standards and holding our leaders accountable.
Absolutely.
It's not just about pointing fingers and saying like, oh, they're corrupt.
Right.
It's about actively engaging in the process.
Yes, being part of the solution.
Yeah, demanding transparency and working to create a system that's truly representative of the people.
I think that's a key takeaway for our listeners.
Yeah.
We can't just sit back and expect other people to fix things.
Right.
We each have a responsibility to be informed.
So let's do our part.
To speak out against injustice.
Yes.
And to support leaders who embody those values of integrity and accountability.
Well said. Leonardo v. People has been a fascinating deep dive.
It has been.
It's amazing how this one seemingly small act of self-dealing can unravel so many complex issues of law, ethics, public trust, you name it.
All of it.
And that's why we do what we do here on the Deep Dive.
Exactly.
We take these complex issues and we break them down.
We break them down.
We explore all the different angles and the nuances.
It has different perspectives.
Yeah, and we try to empower you, our listeners.
Yes.
To think critically and engage meaningfully with the world around you.
We believe that knowledge is power.
It is.
And that by understanding the intricacies of these cases, we can all become more informed and engaged citizens.
So if you found this deep dive insightful, be sure to hit that subscribe button.
Yes.
And join us every week as we unpack more fascinating cases.
We'll be here.
Explore new ideas and dive deep into the issues that matter most.
Absolutely. We're constantly exploring new topics, and we love hearing from you, our listeners.
Oh, we do.
So drop us a comment and let us know what you think about Leonardo v. People.
Yeah, what stood out to you?
What questions does it raise for you about leadership accountability and the future of our society?
We're all in this together.
We are.
And by engaging in thoughtful dialogue and holding each other to high standards, we can create a more just equitable and truly representative world.
A better world for everyone.
Until next time, keep questioning, keep learning, and keep diving deep.
See you next time.